And that shooting certainly sending shockwaves throughout North Royalton. Neighbors of the suspect still cannot believe he's accused of murder. Now at 3, Stephen Hernandez joining us live with that part of the story.
Thank you. I'm in North Royalton right now. Right behind me is the house where Edward Beceda lived. Some neighbors tell me that he's been here for over a decade, and you can see all the different projects Edward was working on. Some people say that he left work halfway done, and actually his projects cause a lot of friction along this street, but no one would have imagined that it would have ended like this.
When we heard it, it was like, oh my God, this really isn't happening. And it's like, how can someone do that?
Shock and disbelief on Patricia Drive tonight after neighbors learned that Edward Beceda is accused of shooting and killing North Royalton Building Commissioner David Smerick.
I never could imagine him doing that kind of thing.
Neighbors Diane Jarris and Peter Hogg say their contact with Beceda was limited in the days leading up to last Friday's shooting.
At some point I wanted to go up there and say, hey, you need some help cleaning up your yard, man. I really like to help you out. But I don't think he wanted that. I think he I don't know where his mind was at.
Once he started acting weird with his yard, he kind of worried about it, like there's something not right.
Now Patricia Drive is quiet. Beceda's home still untouched since his arrest last week. Neighbors say they're left wondering when life on this street will return to normal.
I think as long as we keep seeing his house, that's what's hard. But knowing he can't come back and hurt any of us, that's a little comforting.
Now, also, the future of Beceda's home is still unclear, but some neighbors speculate that at this point, they wouldn't be surprised if this house becomes condemned. Live in North Royalton, Stephen Hernandez, 19 News.
Stephen, thank you. 19 News with continuing coverage on this crime. You can find any updates on air and online as this story develops. Anytime news breaks, you can find it first on our streaming app, 19 News Plus.